Live, presented by Van Horn Law Group and CasaBella Design Group. Seth Levit live right here at the CasaBella Design Group studios. And of course, I am joined by the only live podcaster to lead the NFL in receptions and bowl a perfect game. He is OJ McDuffie. Juice, it's getting a little tough to stay up.
Oh, and was a parade All-American, Big Seth.
And was a parade All-American, as Chris Perkins just found out in that hardcore investigative reporting.
I did some digging.
We might as well bring him in. Okay, so Chris Perkins, Sun Sentinel columnist, host of Dolphins Deep Dive with Perk, and of course, the hardcore investigative reporter who just learned that a guy you covered a few decades ago was a parade All-American. That's Chris Perkins. And the legendary Sevach, the producer with the best hair in the business, is covering it up because he's got a new look. I don't know where he got it from, but maybe somebody can figure it out. Fellas, we're laughing and smiling.
Yeah.
There isn't really a whole lot to laugh about these days, but it's laugh or cry, I guess.
Right.
How's everybody feeling after the debacle by the lake?
Man, I cried Sunday and Monday, man. I'm over that shit, bro. You know what I mean? I'm done.
Moved on.
I'm done Hootie and the Blowfish in this team. You know what I mean? It's over for me, man. They're not gonna make me cry anymore this year, bro. I promise you that, man. I've done enough of it. You know, it's so incredible that, you know, we're still, it's like Groundhog Day.
Oh.
You know, just when we think this team is playing better, you know, haven't won the games, but playing better than that week 1 loss to the Colts. They go to Cleveland, my hometown, by the way. Hey, Perk, that's where I was a parade All-American, Walter Camp All-American, Bob Hope All-American, USA. I'm just giving you now.
This is what we're doing tonight?
That's what we're doing tonight.
Google me.
Plain dealer, player to you, all that, you know. No, I'm just playing. Well, I was that, but I'm just playing about all that stuff. You know, but they go to Cleveland, man, and it was absolutely atrocious, man. I mean, honestly, I never expected it to be that bad. You know, we already knew that. You know, there was going to be, we were worried about the wind and the rain and all this other stuff. And we knew that. I was worried about like return guys and punt returners and, you know, Tua's ball possibly fluttering because of, you know, you got to be able to zip it through tough winds. And Perk, you were there, right? I mean, you could let us, you didn't go?
I didn't go. I'm going to Atlanta. Dave Hyde.
Why you do that to my city, man? Why you avoid my city?
He's on that Parcells thing, Juice, where he only goes to home games.
Home games, right?
Hey, we had a draft and Dave Hyde drafted Cleveland, so you should be honored. Well, you should like Hyde and probably, you know, tell me to fuck off or something.
But anyhow, you know, it's like the weather wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but our performance was worse than the weather. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it was bad on all levels. Just the fumble kickoff return and the defense allowing another team to rush for over 100 yards and offensively just not being able to score a touchdown. It was bad. I mean, it was. But I'll tell you this, and you make whatever you want to make out of it. The team was in good spirits today in the locker room. Guys were smiling. It's not like they didn't care, but I take it for whatever it's worth. I do think that this team has a fighting spirit and a good attitude, but you would kind of like to see guys dog cussing each other and walking around pissed off, wouldn't you?
I know OJ would.
Yeah, that's old school, right?
Yeah. Wouldn't be no kumbaya in there, man. It'd be like, you know what the hell? It's like what the Ravens did. Remember, we did that. Tyreek did that with us before. Took all the games out of there, the ping pong table shit. I mean, there'd be zero. I could only imagine. You imagine Don Shula or even, even Jimmy Johnson walking through a locker room and everybody's in a good mood. They don't want you in a good mood.
Nope.
You know, we don't want you. Shouldn't be in a good mood. At 1-6, who should be in a good mood? Nobody should be in a good mood. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. You know, you got to get up and you got to go to work. Right. But man, when we lost, Big Seth, you know this, man. I'm pissed off until the next game, till the next kickoff. You know, I mean, we just don't have some of that in us, man. It's like, I mean, I get it. You got a life, but once you're in that building, it's one thing. When you get home to your family, I get it. You want to be with your family. Kids don't need to see you all upset and stuff. You know, you need to, run around with your kids and make sure you hug your wife and things like that. But once you step back in that building, man, it's all business, and there's nothing funny about what they've been doing. It's been funny business, what it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Papa Shot game is still going. Matter of fact, I took my first shot today. Somebody handed me a ball and said, take a shot. Again, make of it what you want. The Ravens took all the games out. The Dolphins still have them in. I really don't think it has a factor in wins or losses, but it's kind of a bad look.
Right. Well, it's where their minds are at. Where's your mind at? It's not just a bad look, but it's where's your mind at? Instead of pop-a-shotting, pop your head in the books, in the playbook. Pop your ass in the meeting that Tua said you guys been late for or ain't been there
on
for.
Time, please.
Pop your ass up in there. That's what you need to pop to.
Yep.
So I agree. And Juice, you brought up Jimmy, so I'm going to step in there because you brought him up. And I'm looking. Kim Bocamper's in the chat too. Well, Kim Bocamper's in the chat too. So I'm curious to hear what Bo has to say about that kind of a mood. But I know that my first 4 years working for the team, we rode the wave that the head coach rode. And so he sets the tone. And if we lost a game, it started on the bus. If you took your ass too long to get out of the locker room and you were hee-hawing before you even got on the bus, he was in that first bus looking miserable, drinking his Heineken and pissed off. And it was like he was taking mental notes of every person that was enjoying themselves. Yeah. And the next week was it was miserable all week long until we got a W. And that starts from the top, so the fact that Bo says it's going to be okay. They're looking at the tapes. Right. Well, good. Thank you, Bo, for making us feel better about that. But that, to me, that concerns me. And it brings me to something that I tweeted during the game. I don't know if it was after interception 2 or 3, but I said, in my opinion, this team is broken beyond repair. And so my question, and I'll start with you, Perk, despite them being in a good mood, are they broken? And if so, can they be fixed?
They are broken. They can't be fixed from the standpoint of making a playoff run. They don't have enough talent. They just don't. This is a team I overestimated how good they are, and I keep saying that. I picked them to win 9 games. I thought the front 7 was going to be almost a dominant unit because they had so much veteran talent with Benito Jones, Zach Sealer, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Matthew Judon, Jordan Brooks, Terrell Dodson, KJ Britt, Willie Gay. I thought those dudes were going to make plays. Forget about Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips. Forget about them. You have vets, dudes with skins on the wall. And I thought that they were going to be able to do it, but those guys just aren't very good. And so when those guys aren't very good and Tyreek Hill is out, and you don't have the offense to do anything, and your special teams is showing leaks everywhere. You missed the field goal. Now you got another chance to get it, but you've had the running into the punter, the roughing the punter. You've lost a fumble. You allowed a 90-yard kickoff return. I do think you're broken beyond repair for this season. It's not coming back. It's done for this season.
So, Perk, you're saying that it's a talent issue. I know earlier you have been critical, or previously you've been critical of Mike McDaniel for saying that he should win more with the talent that he has. So now I'm a little confused.
What do you mean that I think that Mike should have won more in the past. Definitely not this year. I was spot on about the other teams. I was wrong about this year's team. I did think they had 9-win talent if they stayed healthy. You knew that the backups weren't very good, but I thought if they stayed reasonably healthy, you could win 9 games with this team. I was wrong about that.
Right. Well, speaking of health, Kim Bocamper just said, well, at least we have Waller. Oh, wait, we don't. So that's an interesting one because we have been on this wave. Talk about riding the wave, Juice. What was going on? The guy's not practicing. He's getting hurt in practices he doesn't practice in. Is he ever going to play? Why didn't they put him on IR? He misses 3 games. Holy shit, he's the best tight end in football. And then for 3 weeks, he's unstoppable. 4 touchdowns. We don't think they're using him enough. And then come week 4 of his playing, now all of a sudden we're like, where is he? You find out there's a pec injury, and now he's on IR. Yeah. Is it kind of what we expected? Maybe the apology that we gave him was an apology that we should recognize that he still was a talented dude, but it just is not an easy game to get up off the couch after a year and go out and friggin' play with killers.
Yeah, when you can't just be doing Pilates for a year and a half and then come back and play NFL football, in my opinion, man. Let's be real here, though. I'm gonna tell you, while he was out there, man, he played some solid football for us, man. His snaps were really good snaps for us. The fact that we didn't get very many of them, didn't get any at the beginning. When he was in there, he was outstanding. His first game against the Jets was amazing. But his snaps were quality snaps, but the best ability is availability, as we all know. And, he hasn't been available for most of this season. And so that's kind of unfortunate right there. And, and Waller, I always felt like this, and I know Bo feels the same way. Once somebody retires, they're retired, man. They really are, mentally and sometimes even physically, especially when you get up in your 30s now. If he's in his 20s, I think he'd make a rebound from that. But we got some quality time. We got some quality time with Waller. Like you visiting your kid on the weekend, man. He visited us on the weekend. And then, now he dipped out on us again, bro. He's gonna be an absentee father again for us, when it comes to playing for this team. But no, he was, like I said, he did do some good things while he was here. We were all skeptical about him. Then we said we were wrong about him. Now it's back to, being without him again. And Perk, I think you were right, though, to think about a 9-win season. When you look at an offense that came back pretty much the same other than the tight end position. We had some guys come back that we thought, like Austin Jackson, those guys are going to come back. You go out and you get Daniels on the right side. You draft Savaianaya, and you already got, we already know the big Patrick Paul's decent, and we know that Aaron Brewer's great. And when you got Tua, you got your running back. You get a running back and Ali Gordon. You got all your receivers. This team should have been better offensively, and they stunk in full capacity other than Waller at the beginning of the season. So you were right. We were all thinking, like, I was listening to all the pundits. They're like, oh, this team's going to be, 4-13. And I was like, get out of here with that, And then you also saw in training camp how that front seven was looking pretty good. So you weren't wrong about it. They fooled us. Shame on us for falling for that shit. You know what I mean? And and it's rearing its ugly head. Now, if you go back to this last game, and the defense gave up 200 yards. It's the offense that put them in terrible situations this last game, but that's a whole different story, man. But I'm with you, though, man. I mean, I think that, no matter what, this team, and Seth, I love what you were talking about. This team takes on the persona of the head man, and our head man just doesn't seem like, he's just chilling right now, man. And because for some reason he feels like he can.
And you know what? And I'll say this also, and I'm going to get into I tried to tell y'all, but when you talk about Waller,
format.
But no, I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. Okay. But when you talk about Waller, how is it that this man can get shut down for 2 quarters at a time? That they can, no targets. And they're just like, well, they took him out of the game. Well, why can't y'all do that to another receiver? Or, it's everybody can do this to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins can't do this to anybody else. I just don't understand how Waller can be taken out for 2 quarters at a time, 3 quarters at a time. Like, I guess maybe not having Tyreek out there makes it easier for the defense to do that, but I'm just at a loss because among Achane and Waddle and Waller, you would think you can't just shut down any one of them because the other 2 are going to kill you, and that's not what we're seeing out there.
No, it's not what we're seeing out there. And, Juice, you just mentioned something about it's that Mike McDaniel's seems a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more chill, because it kind of looks like he feels like he can be. And that brings up another interesting point. After that performance against Cleveland, there was a lot of speculation as to what changes might be made from Sunday to Monday morning. But Monday morning came, the sun rose in Miami Gardens, and everything is status quo. Mike McDaniel was at the podium, kind of cracking a little joke about, I expect the team not to throw 10 picks. Chris Greer, certainly in his position. Tua is still the starting quarterback, which I'm going to address next. Another tweet that seemed to get a lot of people's attention. Yep. And there were no changes. So my question, they said Perk is in 280p. They're killing you on that camera, Perk.
I don't know.
280?
I don't know what to tell you, man. Look, that's
Sidebar said 280p. Okay.
it's my dial-up service is slow tonight. Man. Leave me alone. Damn.
Okay. That might be something to take up with the condo association later. So,
you know it's included, Big Seth. You know it's included in the rent. You know what I mean?
Sam said he paid rent by turning in the good webcam. Okay.
Damn, Sam.
Do to keep that view for another month. That's all
right.
it is. I can't even stay on task. So what would have to happen for Stephen Ross? He just seems like the most patient man in America right now. And I have not been pushing. I do not. It's that's not my, Juice and I are very adamant about that. We don't get in these public forums and start calling for people's jobs. It's just, we've been too close to the business. We understand what that does to people. Do I think there needs to be some kind of a change? They need to figure something out and figure it out fast. Absolutely. But boy, is Stephen Ross patient. And all of the national reporters seem to be indicating, whether they're talking to Stephen Ross, whether they're talking to a source close to Stephen Ross, that he wants to continue to give Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer time to see if they can get things turned around. How much time do you think Stephen Ross is willing to give?
I think it's time to turn the page right now. I really do. At 1-6 in these last three performances, Carolina and the Chargers and Cleveland. Carolina, you blow the 17-0 lead to one of the worst teams in the league. The Chargers, you lose the game in the last minute after you've taken the lead, and then Cleveland, you just got your butt kicked, even close. I think it's time right now and start looking ahead to 2026 and beyond, see who can play, see who can't play, who do you need to keep, and start looking at the future, because this year is done. You're not making the playoff, you're not doing anything, but, kind of wasting people's time, really.
Well, so I am glad you just said that. And I know Pete is dying for me to address this. And he's probably not the only one. I know I saw Chris, a different Chris, on Twitter. And I'm gonna bring this up to you first, Juice. So you started to get, after 2 straight games of 3 interceptions per game. Tua today cracks the joke about, when did I say that I don't throw interceptions in bunches? Yeah. He brought that up, which was interesting. But people are now speculating or believing, and it's particularly fans, that Tua should be benched. Give viewers an opportunity. I went on Twitter and I said that that's absolutely ridiculous. You don't do it. You can't do it. Neither Ewers nor Wilson is deserving the opportunity. And to me, a healthy Tua is the Miami Dolphins starter, regardless of how bad he has played, and he has played poorly. Regardless of how bad he has been at the mic, and he has been pretty damn awful at the mic as well. Yeah. He is the friggin' starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins as long as he's healthy, and I believe that all the way through this season. Juice, I'm going to start with you, and one of the reasons I said that, because I think I pissed people off because I said, if you think otherwise, you don't know ball. People took that to heart. Maybe that was getting a little loose there because I was pissed off watching that damn game. But Juice, as a guy who played the game, and fortunately, none of the teams you played on were this bad. But if we ever had been in a situation like that, and Jimmy or Dave had walked up to you as a team leader, and here you are, year 6, year 7 in your career, have led the NFL in receptions, and they're like, hey, Juice, we're going to give Cade McNown a shot. We need to see what Cade's got. We need to just see what he's got. We want to see it in real action. We know Fiedler's better, or we know whoever is better, but we want to see Cade. Like, whose time's being wasted at that point? Right. I just don't know how you can look at Minkah Fitzpatrick, Jalen Waddle, any of those guys in the eye and say, yeah, we want to see what Ewers. You see what he does every day in practice. We saw what he did. He's not the fucking starting quarterback. Tua is.
Right. And Big Seth, it drives me crazy with that stuff too. People have been giving me examples of, like Kirk Cousins got benched and Russ got benched and all this other stuff. Well, Kirk Cousins had a first-round pick waiting on him to play. You know what I mean? That's a whole different ball game. Yeah. You look at Russ. I mean, hell, Peyton, he actually, Sean Payton actually inherited Russ. He didn't really want Russ. It was easy for him to pull the trigger. You're talking about clear. Mike McDaniel, who actually came in with the promise of making Tua the guy. Chris Greer, making sure Tua got paid being the guy. Now, so you're gonna put $53 million on the bench for a guy you picked up in free agency for $6 million and a 7th-round draft pick? That's a completely different story. And those guys, obviously Kirk Cousins and Russ, they're older guys. They're in their Tua should be in his prime. He should be in his prime, man. So there's no way you can bench him for those guys. You know, you can bench him next year if you go out and get a 1st-round draft pick. But you can't do that this year when you've got the guys you picked. And I honestly feel like Quinn Ewers, when I watch him throw the football, he throws it like Tua does. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of zip on it. It's a fluttering football. You know, he's willing to take the hit. We saw that. He made a completion to Eskridge, you know, standing in the pocket making the hit. But at the same time, though, those arms don't translate in 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, and they really don't translate that much in the NFL anymore. And the fact that, I mean, I love Tua, but Tua's not willing to sit in there and take one. I get it. When you've been concussed that many times, I get it. You're not willing to sit there and take a hit. But the NFL, you got to sit there and take a hit sometimes, man. That's the game. Because, you know, he missed at least 3 or 4 throws this year that were big throws because he was unwilling to step into it and take the nod.
And see, that's why I think that it's time to turn the page on McDaniel and Tua. You know, like when Dave Hyde wrote a column about Chris Greer, the question he asked was, who's minding the store? And that's what I'm asking now, that like for the good of the franchise, like, do you really think Tua's going to do anything for the rest of this season? The man has 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. What I would like to know, if I'm Steve Ross or if I'm the organization, is do we have our bridge quarterback on the team? Is it Zach Wilson? Is it Quinn Ewers? I don't think either of those is your franchise quarterback. But until you get to your franchise quarterback in 2 or 3 years, who's going to play quarterback for you? Do you know you have that person? Do you need to look for another quarterback in the offseason? You need to get these answers right now. And just like I think with Mike McDaniel, I think the team needs to hear another voice. I think with at the quarterback position, the team needs to explore other options. Who's minding the store? Who's looking out for the franchise? I understand that you don't want to piss off Minkah Fitzpatrick and all these guys, but there's a bigger thing involved here. It's the franchise. Who's minding the franchise?
Right. Well, okay. So who's minding the franchise? You just, to Juice's point, you just gave this guy this contract, and a year later you're going to bench him for a 7th-round draft pick. Who, I don't care what anybody says. Let's see what he's got. Trust me, they see what he's got in camp. They see what he's got in practice. He's not Brock Purdy, folks. If you're saying, hey, maybe he'll be Brock Purdy, he's not Brock Purdy. Right. Could he potentially develop into a backup quarterback that could play 10 years in this league? Sure. Just like Skylar Thompson still has a job. But guess what? He was not the starting quarterback, and some people were crying for him to be the starter at one point because they had a couple good preseason games. It's just Tua is the better player. He's playing terribly right now. Tua needs to figure something out and figure it out quickly. And if he can't, then hard decisions need to be made this offseason, some of which might be incredibly costly. But I promise you that there's no way Zach Wilson, there's no way Quinn Ewers are better than Tua Tagovailoa right now. There's just absolutely no way. And you just can't. That would be irresponsible to the franchise, and it would be irresponsible to the men in that locker room who are giving everything they can, even though they're playing poorly. You got the men in that locker room who are giving everything they can to try to keep playing, to try to be professionals, even in some shitty situations. If you say we're going to give this kid a shot, you've decided that you've quit. And now you're just experimenting. You can't do that on Sundays. You can't.
Yeah, and Big Seth, I was okay with Tua coming out of the game on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Absolutely fine with that.
I'm not saying he can't be pulled.
Correct.
He's just not the starter.
Not starting him, man. I'm with you on that, man. And I just know that, I'm shocked. Here's what I'm shocked about, Perk, with that whole situation. And I said this in the pregame show, was that how can you elevate somebody from running scout team to being the backup when you don't get any reps with your own offense, unless he was getting reps all week with his own offense? Maybe you know more about that, and maybe because we don't know what goes on in practice. Maybe Zach was running scout team and Ewers was doing backup role, getting backup snaps, because during the week you only get so many snaps, so we all know. you only get so many plays that you can go out there and actually run before, and so many looks that you can look at, but and your starter usually gets all those, or majority of them, where the backup comes in and gets, if there's 20 plays, the backup might get 4 of them, because you only have so many reps, so on and so forth, So in order for him to feel like he can run the offense better than Zach can, when was he getting their offensive reps, which was my question. When was he getting our offensive reps compared to running scout team reps, unless he was doing it all week long?
Yeah, let me be clear about this. I think the backup quarterback thing was a joke. And I wrote that Sunday. I said that I'm not ripping Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers. I'm ripping Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. It's a ridiculous situation and a more ridiculous explanation that we think Quinn Ewers gives us a better chance to win in this specific game against this specific defense. What the hell is that? And so when I say that I think that you should see what you have at quarterback, I'll be clear about this too. I don't think Tua should be your starter next year. I say get Greer out, get McDaniel out, get Tua out, turn the page right now. That's what I'm saying, Seth. If I thought that Tua would be your starter next year, yeah, let him start for the rest of the year. I think Tua's time is done here. It's as done as Mike McDaniel's time. Turn the page, look out for the franchise. Stop looking out for 2025. 2025 is done. Look out for the franchise.
Perk, you cannot take the position at 1-6 with how many games left? 10 games left to play.
Yep.
That this season's over. You cannot do that organizationally. You can't.
Here's the thing. Steven just made a post right there. Made a statement right there. If the Dolphins, and I don't know if the Dolphins took Tua out of that game because they're worried about him health wise, that's ridiculous right there, and I hope that's not the case. But they'll let Ewers go in there and get beat up a little bit, and protect Tua. Back to what I always want to say, man, is that Tua's got to be able to, and I don't think he can anymore, Perk, and I don't think he ever did really. He's got to be able to sit in there, man, and I don't think that that's going to happen in the future. I think that ship has sailed when it comes to him sitting in there willing to take the whole offense is designed around Tua getting the ball out fast, reading it fast. Hell, one interception he threw down the middle on the single high safety, man. Nobody does that. Nobody does it. A lot of his throws are blind throws now. One, because he can't see sometimes, but for two, he turns his back to him. There's been a shift in his play that will not work in this league right now because of our team's fear factor of him getting hit, and I think also it's in his head that he doesn't want to get hit either, man. And it's detrimental to the team and the operation. It really is, and I feel bad for him, and we've had this in our text message, Big Seth, that I get that nobody wants to get hit in the league, but football, you get hit in football.
I mean, it's a game of getting hit.
That position,
yeah.
And you watch some of these other quarterbacks, you see them sit in and get hit when they deliver these dimes, but they know. And that's why as a wide receiver, man, that I knew Danny was going to sit in there and take a hit. Right. I better catch this fucking ball, man, because I know he's about to get clobbered, man. Or I'm assuming he's going to get clobbered. So I better be willing to get clobbered too. So
Juice, if you know this as a retired player, don't you think the current players know this? And so when you talk about giving your team the best chance to win, what do you think they think about Tua? Do you think if they see these same things, that Tua's not willing to stay in there, that Tua's worried about his next concussion, does he really give you the best chance to win?
I don't know if they feel that way, Perk. I'm just saying that's how that's what I when I observe.
But if you see that, don't you think the players see that?
I think they do, Perk. But this is what I can tell. What, in my opinion, neither Juice or I are sitting there talking to active players. But we've been around active players, and Juice has been one and been a captain of players that we loved and cheered for, and you covered, and so on and so forth. I'm sure that they see that, whether they feel he's lost his stinger or he's turning things away or what have you. But they also know what the operation looks like when it's not him. And we got a glimpse of that last year. And granted, it was two different backup quarterbacks. It's not Wilson and it wasn't Ewers. But this team and the way this offense has been designed and tailor-made for Tua, and the way that he, now the ball's been going to the wrong place, but the way that he operates that offense, and he knows the offense inside and out. He absolutely does. Again, I am not sitting here defending, and I'm not a Tua stan or whatever the word is. He's playing terribly. He's absolutely playing terribly. Yeah. But I believe that if either of those other two guys gets in for an entire game, it is going to remind us of Seattle last year. It is going to remind us of Tyler Huntley. They're not ready to run this offense and at a capable level. They just are not. And I know it sounds silly because it's a 1-16. Mike Olivia, who I have all the respect for, he said, Seth, we're not talking about a 500 team. We're saying if they get to 1-10, 1-11. If they get to 1-10, 1-11, Mike, let's meet back in this space and we'll revisit this conversation. But you cannot bench Tua Tagovailoa right now. You're essentially saying we quit. If you bench Tua right now, you are saying we quit. And I know fans want to see something different. I know media, clearly, with you sitting here, Chris, I know media members are saying this is over. You have to start thinking about next year. When you get paid to show up for 17 weeks, even if you're playing like dog shit, you have to go to work every day and try to be a professional. That's the job.
You cannot bench Tua too, because from the money, if people say whatever, the money is a huge factor here.
Has to be.
The money's a huge factor. You can't go to Stephen Ross and ask for all this money and then put that money on the bench, Perk. You cannot do that.
The money spent. The money spent. It's wasted.
Well, for this year, this year's money is where it's at. So what are you going to do about next year, which is going to be, if you cut him before June 1, it's like we're still $99 million dead on him. So you're not going to get your money's worth out of this. You're not going to ride your tires on your car until the wheels fall off. You're going to go get some new ones. You going to get some new ones, Perk?
The wheels are off. I'm getting some bald ass used tires from around the way. I'm getting some Quinn Ewers tires, some Zach Wilson tires. Had no tread on it, but I don't give a damn. I mean, I'm sorry. Look, it's this season. To me, this season now becomes about looking out for the franchise's future. Like, the present is done. I'm taking my Russell Wilson Denver Broncos financial pain in 2026. Tua's done. Mike McDaniel is done. Chris Greer is done. I'm looking to the future.
If they were done, they wouldn't be in the building right now. They'd be cleaning their shit out. Joey ended up an intern with a big, giant, clear plastic bag. We've seen it. Actually, the coaches and GM probably would get nice cardboard boxes, but they would be out. They're not done because Stephen Ross hasn't pulled the plug. They're still there. But they have to go do their job. They have to do their job, Perk, and it would be irresponsible to start either of those other two guys. There you go.
Okay,
Kim Bokamper, the Killer Bees, 1980s, 2 Super Bowls. And he has been hypercritical. Kim Bokamper just told us that Tua Tagovailoa played the worst football game in the history of NFL quarterbacks that he's ever seen in his life. And he just said, you cannot bench Tua. You can't do it. Now, look, I'm just some idiot former PR guy. I get it.
You're not an idiot. You're not an idiot, Big Seth. You're just a former PR guy.
But OJ McDuffie is telling you can't bench him. Kim Bokamper's telling you can't bench him. Yeah. You can't bench him. Can't do it.
Yeah. Right. Well, I've spoken. I've got a different opinion. I just think if you go into next season not knowing whether Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers could be your bridge quarterback, you've really messed up this season. Like, really messed it up. What are you going to get? What are you planning on getting out of the rest of this season, Seth?
You're not getting anything out of the rest of the
season. Do I have to go Herm Edwards on you?
No, you play to win the games.
That's it.
Yeah.
You get 17 friggin' opportunities, and every week you have to go out, and it doesn't matter. Look, when the Dolphins went friggin' 1-15, Cam Cameron, which there was a Cam Cameron reference in here. This is a second Cam Cameron reference. It tells you where the season's at. So when the Dolphins went 1-15, there was the game against New England where they pull Tom Brady because they're whooping our ass, and Matt Castle comes in, and the first pass that he throws is a pick six. JT picks it off, takes it into the end zone. He does the jump man in the end zone. And Cam Cameron, instead of being instead of saying, hey, look, I wish the rest of you guys would fucking fight and play like your future Hall of Fame team captain here, he rips JT in the team meeting and said that he was showboating in a game that they were losing. So to me, Cam Cameron had the mentality of, well, hey, let's go start Quinn Ewers. The players want to play to win every damn time they get out there. And if they don't want to play to win, those are the guys you got to get rid of. I'm telling you guys, that's the way football players think. I'm telling you.
I understand that. I understand that. But again, if you're Steve Ross, you're not looking at 2025 anymore. You're looking at 2026 and beyond. Who's minding the store? Who's looking out for the franchise? Not the 2025 team. Who's looking out for the good of the franchise in the long run, in the big picture?
That's why everyone's mad that Chris Greer is out scouting quarterbacks. That's what he should be doing until they tell him he shouldn't be doing it anymore. But when it comes to lining up on Sunday, it's Mike McDaniel's job to give the team the best opportunity to win. Are they doing a poor job of it? Absolutely, because they're 1-6 and they just got blown out by a 1-5 Cleveland Browns team. But it's their job to put the best person out there. And Tua's the best person, and it ain't even close. It ain't even close, guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the Tua stuff, man. It's like, but here's the thing, too. This whole offense, this whole entire offense is designed around Tua. Everything about it is Tua. So you just can't bring anybody off the street, learn a playbook, and you can run an offense. You can't bring Joe Flacco might not be able to run this offense. He can run any offense, it seems like. So you look at the whole thing, the way this whole thing is designed. It's like, who else is going to run it? And that means, like you're talking about, Chris, that means not only does Tua have to go, Mike has to go, because they're attached at the hip from that offense. That whole offense is Tua.
The left hip or the right hip? Don't ask Frank Smith, because
right.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm with you on that. But my problem is right now, no matter what, you've got to put Tua out there as a starter until it gets to the point like he did in the Browns game. You got to replace him. And if that continues, then the hell with it. You just got to replace him completely. But you've got to continue to give him these opportunities. Now, we already know Tua couldn't play in Tennessee a couple of years ago. We knew he, obviously can't play with a wet ball in Cleveland, light wind, whatever it might have been. He's got a chance in Atlanta this week, and we'll see what happens. Now, if he goes out there and if Tua, oh my God, if Tua goes out there and throws multiple picks again this week, I'm with some of these other people then with nobody. I'm going back to start, Big Seth. I'm going back as the emergency quarterback for the team. You know what I mean? When I was scared to death that I almost got called in before you were allowed to dress 3 of them. Perk, I was an emergency quarterback for 2 weeks, man. Man, I was scared. I couldn't even worry about receiver. I was worried about the quarterbacks getting hurt. I'm like, yo, you better get up. You better get your ass up. I'm not going. I've never played quarterback in my life. But, but if he goes in there, honestly, and has another, excuse my French, shit show. I've been cussing the whole game, but so what? That's
pissed off.
Then we gotta do something, man, because you're right about some things too, Perk and Seth. You got a lot of guys on that football team that all they want to do is go out there and win. They got some guys. We got a lot of guys. You don't even know which ones they are. This is their last year of football,
right?
Or next to last year of football. So they're all they care about is winning. At this point, hell, some of them might just be worried about getting that direct deposit. And that's
let me say this about when you get back to the offense and it's made specifically for Tua, that's a flaw. Again, who's minding the store? Why do you have an offense that's made for one quarterback? An injury-prone quarterback. You should have an offense that's more quarterback friendly, because you know that you might need that backup quarterback. But the offense isn't made for him. This is an organizational flaw. Who was looking out for the franchise? Why didn't somebody say, hey, Mike McDaniel, make a more quarterback-friendly offense because Tua is injury-prone, and if we have to play a backup quarterback, he's screwed, and we're screwed. Again, you've got to look out for the franchise.
I agree with that. I agree with everything you just said, and that little, put the parentheses around I agree with all of that, Perk. I think that even now they should, someone just put there in the chat, who was it? Somebody just put in there, I'd love to see them line up against Atlanta with no motion. The Falcons wouldn't know what to do because it's just not who we are or who we've been. Mike McDaniel said everything should be on the table. Should they look? You guys talked about that today in the presser. What does that mean if you say everything's on the table? Right. Should you reevaluate? And he actually gave a really, I thought, in-depth answer as to all the different things that he was evaluating, run pass ratios, all of this stuff. I do think all of that should be explored. But in every one of those scenarios, the starting quarterback should be Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to move on from that because we'll argue Tua. He's the most polarizing player, maybe the most polarizing athlete in the history of South Florida. So we're going to move on from that for this moment, but it'll be really good. Oh, Luis Diaz in the house. There we go. We got 2 stand-up comics. We should just turn it over to them. I mentioned Atlanta. How in the bleep are they going to stop Bijan Robinson? Like if Joe, the truck driver, and everybody else that shows up, how are they going to stop? Like, what do the Dolphins do? Can they possibly stop him? Or, like we saw, their best game of the season was probably the game against Buffalo. Do they rise to the occasion? I'm not saying come away with a win. We'll see. But do they rise to the occasion? And do we get a better version of the Dolphins than we've seen in weeks?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what to expect because I don't know the biggest problem with the run game, whether it's the scheme or run fits or trusting the guy next to you or actually tackling. Like, those are all major flaws. So I don't know how you even fix the run game at this point. I don't know what Dolphins team shows up. I don't know if it's the team that fought back in the fourth quarter against the Chargers. I don't know if it's the team that looked like ass last week. I don't know if it's the team that took the 17-0 lead against Carolina, the team that played its heart out against Buffalo but still lost by 10. I don't know anything about this team, Seth. I don't know what to expect. I think that they lose by 10 points, 11 points, but I think I picked 28-17. But I don't know if they give a good effort against Drake London, the receiver, or against Bijan Robinson. I just don't know what to expect from this team at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you, Perk, on that, man. It's a scary situation right here. Even though they're coming off that, 20-10 loss to San Francisco, they're a tough team. Yep. They're a tough team to deal with. And Bijan Robinson's going to be all over the place. He's going to be catching the rock. He's going to be running the rock. And you said it best. I mean, Drake London had a great game a couple of weeks ago. He makes incredible catches. And Seth's boy, Kyle Pitts, man, he's going to be something to deal with, too, at the tight end position. Michael Penix has a plethora. That's a big word like mayonnaise, Big Seth. He has a
mayonnaise word.
Yeah, he has a plethora of options on that offense, and he just got to get it to him, kind of like we thought we had here. And so I love the fact that the environment's going to be good. It's going to be indoors. If not, the roof will be open, but it'll be nice weather, or they wouldn't have the roof open. So it's like, I mean, it's tough, man. Here's where you figure out what this team is made of again. We keep trying to figure out what the hell this team is made of. Are we cool with them going in there and being competitive? Not me, really. I want you to go in there. This is one of the games I think we looked at as a possible win when we were looking at the schedule. Now, everybody thinks that we're a win. We're the easy dub now, I think, in a lot of people's minds. But, it's not about shocking the world. In NFL, any given Sunday, like the Browns weren't supposed to blow us out. They were supposed to beat us, but not blow us out. But I'm thinking that this team can go into Atlanta, and they're going to tell us a lot. If they go in there, like I said, and Tua has multiple, turnovers, and they lay another egg, even though Atlanta's a better team than the Browns, a much better team than the Browns, in my opinion, that tells a lot about what this team. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of the whole week of preparation has been so good, and then something changes on Sunday. The hell, I'm done with that.
And everybody's confused. Nobody understands why.
Right.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. All right. I'm looking at the clock, and I know we are on a short leash here with Chris Perkins because he's double dipping tonight, Juice.
Yep.
He is taking us out to dinner, and then he's got late night plans with somebody else. But we're okay. We're okay with that. I don't know what that says about us, but we are okay with that. So I had a couple other things I wanted to bring up. Right. I do want to very quickly. I very quickly want to say congrats to Richmond Webb. Yes. Deservedly has advanced to the next round in the Hall of Fame voting. I think there's 52 players now. Last year was the first time ever he had made it to the semifinalist round. I really would love to see Richmond get in the room. I would people give Armando a lot of shit, but I know firsthand that Armando fights his ass off when he's trying to present guys. And if Richmond can get into the room of 15, I know that he'll have a chance because Armando will put together something really special. So we're hoping that Richmond, the big fella, ends up where he belongs for sure. So congrats to him on that. Let's just jump to I tried to tell y'all. I think we need to get in. I tried to tell y'all. Chad Van Horn is traveling, so he's not here. We don't have the legal zone. Sam suggested that we let Sevach answer the legal questions and Chad can evaluate his performance. I don't know that I feel the same way about that I do of starting Quinn Ewers.
You're being contempt of court. You're being contempt of court. You let Sevach do it.
We're probably not going to do that, although Sevach is looking good tonight for sure. All right. Let's let Perk kick it off, Juice, just in case he tries to dip out on us.
All right.
Perk, what did you try to tell us, my man?
I tried to tell y'all that there were questions about Mike McDaniel's coaching chops. I tried to tell y'all starting in December of 2022, and this is when I noticed the pattern of this team beating bad teams and losing to good teams. And I kept asking that question, can this man coach? Is he a good coach? This is not personal, this is business. Mike McDaniel is now 29-29 in the regular season, 29-31 overall. You're a 500 coach with all this talent that you've had. You've had the quarterback, you had 2 receivers, you've had the defense, you have Vic Fangio. I mean, you've had Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell. Like, you had Hall of Famers, but you still couldn't beat good teams. You still ran a one-dimensional offense that was based on Tyreek. You couldn't win in December and January. You couldn't win on the road. Like, what has Mike McDaniel proven? Again, this is not personal. This is business. He's underachieved. He's disappointed. All of his teams have underachieved and disappointed. You should have won a playoff game by now, but you haven't. You haven't come close. I know it was 34-31 up in Buffalo after the 22 season with Skylar Thompson, but your offense scored 2 touchdowns in that game. Zach Sealer scored a 3rd touchdown. You go back and you track how many times this offense has scored 3 touchdowns in a game against a good team. It doesn't happen. You go to the game out in San Francisco in 2022 when you lost, 33-17? You know, one of those touchdowns was Tyreek Hill, 57-yard fumble return off of a Jeff Wilson fumble. So you can't even say the offense scored 2 touchdowns in that game. The offense has been vastly overrated. And what I don't like is the Dolphins knew this after the 22 season and after the 23 season. Again, 2023, you were 1-6 against playoff teams, and the average score was 32-16. You got your butt kicked, and you didn't address the problem. Mike McDaniel has been inadequate as a coach. I tried to tell y'all.
All right. He said, I'm getting out early, but I'm going to leave you with something. Okay, Perk.
Just saying.
There it is. Okay. I'm not even going to comment on it. Juice, what did you try to tell
man,
me?
you know what, Big Seth? I tried to tell y'all that I'm sick and tired of the word operation. I mean, what the hell is wrong with a team that continues to talk about operations? I mean, Tua must have said it 10 times following the loss the other day to the Browns, right? And, you know, operation, it really starts in OTAs, and it's still going on in week 7 of the regular season. I mean, please, man. I mean, I've seen better operations on my Pee Wee team. I mean, that's the easiest part. Assignment, alignment, and adjustments, man. You know, or when I played the game operation, that was even better than what we have when it comes to operation, man. You know, so for grown-ass men,
sidewalls, Juice.
Yeah, man. You know, so for grown-ass men that spend countless hours going over and through operation, this is absolutely ridiculous to me. You know, Mike and Tua need to get their shit together. That's the bottom line. I mean, they need to get their shit together. And those that are not lined up early and correctly, what the hell are they doing all week long? I know Tyreek was guilty of this shit a lot, Perk. Like, we was always worried about Tyreek being on the wrong side, but Tyreek's out. He's not healthy. You know, he's been out, you know? So I'm done with this lousy-ass excuse. You know, are we that dumb of a team? Maybe we are, man. What the fuck are we doing? Get your shits together or dumb it down. I'm over this bullshit, man. I tried to tell y'all.
There it is. And do not say miscommunication to my man, OJ McDuffie. I can tell you that much. All right, Perk, I know you got to leave in a minute. And we talked about this during the week. I didn't think I was going to do it, but what the hell? I pissed everybody off anyway when I said Tua needs to remain the starter. I tried to tell y'all that you were going to miss Liam Eichenberg. Woo! That's right. I said it. Yes. Talk your shit. Say whatever you want. Go ahead and put the meme of him leaning forward, looking like he's diving, holding people back. But guess what? A healthy Liam Eichenberg would probably be the third best offensive lineman on this starting lineup right now. Can't touch Aaron Brewer. Can't touch Patrick Paul. But I promise you that a healthy Liam Eichenberg, no matter how many times he falls on the ground, no matter how many times he looks unathletic, he would be better than Larry Borum. He would be better than Cole Strange. He would be better than Jonah Savaiinaya. And I'll give Jonah a little bit of grace because he's a rookie that was thrust into a position that he's probably not ready for. But Liam Eichenberg would fight his ass off. He would get little cheap penalties from the other team. He would buy back every time that you jumped off sides or you had some sort of operational penalty. Liam would get it back because he would grab somebody's nuts in a pile. He would talk some shit. Somebody would come over and get pissed off and headbutt him, and you get 15 going the other way. And he would fight, and he would claw, and he would play until they had to carry him off that field and make sure that your quarterback didn't get the shit kicked out of him. And listen, he has missed badly. Was he worthy of trading up for a second-round pick? No, he was not. He underperformed for what everybody thought he was. Yes, Sam, it's a Liam Eichenberg defense. And maybe that's just – maybe all that does is tell you where we're at as an offensive line. In fairness to two of the three guys who were out there, they weren't supposed to be starting. We had one guy who was our prize free agent, and guess what happened? 3 plays into the season, he's been gone with a pectoral injury. What's up with all the pectoral injuries anyway? I don't know what the hell's going on there. And Austin Jackson, who's we all have lauded how young Austin Jackson is. We got to remember he's still young. It's incredible. He's only like 26 years old. He's been in the league for like 100 years, but he's hurt now. He seems to be hurt every season for a significant amount of games. It is negatively impacting this offensive line. As poorly as Tua has played, he's also getting right now pressure. I tried to tell y'all you were going to miss Liam Eichenberg, and whether you're willing to admit it or not, you miss him, and you miss him badly.
Strong. I like it. I thought Liam and the offensive line got scapegoated. So that's good that you're standing up for him.
Yeah. Well,
people can't even stand it in the chat. I can't imagine once they watch it back.
Liam comes to his charity event, Perk. That's why he just.
I've never met Liam. I've never met him personally. That is the quickest way. Hey, I ripped Kiko Alonso for 2 years. I would text people, and then he showed up to ping pong, and that was my dude, man. So I can easily be bought. We support the nonprofit work that we do. I've never met Liam. He's never done a single thing for me, and I am saying that he is average, if not below average, but he would be better than 3 of the 5 starting offensive linemen the Miami Dolphins have right now.
Big Seth, tell me you didn't go straight Stephen A. Smith when Serena Williams' husband came at him. You like, you talk all that trash, and then all of a sudden you had nothing to say.
Oh man! Well, you'll be happy to know Liam is a class act. So he was one of my favorites in the locker room. He's a class act. He is.
What's crazy is we always talk about how much we don't like him, but you said it right, Big Seth. He is missed right now, huh? Is that sweet guy that played everything? You don't have very many of those guys, man. No matter
Meanwhile,
how bad.
so look at the chat. Shelby wants to know how much Liam paid me. He did not. Is he in the Wiffle Blast tournament? Juice, are you willing to put Liam on Juice Crew in the Wiffle Blast tournament?
No.
Uh-oh. Oh, damn.
No, I love it, Shelby.
Hey, fellas, I'm out.
All right, Chris, next Perk.
So, Perk, where are you headed now? Where can they find you? You're jumping on another show.
Finn's Faithful Podcast.
Check out, so Sarney and the guys, you're going to go to, okay.
Sarney, Sarney and
done with
George.
us, go check out. If you haven't had enough of Perk, you can get him for another hour of Finn's Faithful Podcast. So good luck with that.
All right, fellas. Appreciate it. I'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Oh, man. Well, that was, I knew I was stepping into it. I knew I was stepping into some shark-infested waters with the Liam Eichenberg defense.
What did Sevach try to tell us, Big Seth? Anything?
Sevach, have you tried to tell us anything?
I have. I've tried to tell you many things, but I'm so glad. Thank you so much, Juice, for this invitation. I have been waiting a long time for this one. Oh, yes. I tried to tell y'all that this thing was dead in the water and needed to be blown up a long time ago. Hold on now. So coming out of the 22 season, we had Tyreek had a career year, and we thought the general consensus was, man, as long as Tua can stay healthy, we've got this thing in the bag. Well, he did, and we didn't. And instead, Tyreek had himself another career year, but that was it. I knew in 23, if we couldn't accomplish the goals we set out to accomplish that year with that team, all of that talent, and an actual legitimate defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio, we weren't going to pull it off with this group. And that was the time to pull the plug. I know it sounds crazy, and it sounded even crazier back then, but I knew we had to move Tyreek at that moment because his value was never going to be any higher. And we could have gotten a king's ransom for him, had enough picks to build 2 damn teams. So just know, as we are watching this slow derailment happen, it didn't have to be this way. Because I tried to tell you.
Okay.
There he is. Sevach's been waiting. He's been waiting. Been sitting on it.
And you're right. You're not wrong. Now we got nothing for him. Nothing.
Good stuff. Oh, Shake wants to know, who do I want as Florida's next head coach? They better not leave it up to me because I'm going straight. Well, it's not nepotism, is it?
Take James Franklin.
Yeah. James Franklin would do a brilliant job.
He would, and
he would do a brilliant job.
The money we had to pay him, so come get his ass.
Hell no, don't hire somebody that good. You need somebody that we can beat, that FSU can beat.
He would flourish in Gainesville. He would. He's that good. He'll bring him, man. He would bring him in.
I bet he would do a great job. I happen to think that the defensive line coach for the University of Miami would look really good in orange and blue. He'd be pissed off for me saying this right now.
Does he want to be a head man?
What's that?
Does he want to be a head man?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think he's keeping the main thing, Juice.
Some people don't want to be the head man. That's a lot. That's a lot. JT is a great coach, and I know he'd be a great head coach, but I think that JT be like, yo, just pay me my money. I got family down here in South Florida.
Yep.
I wish he was on. He's going to be on the next staff right here wearing the aqua and orange. That's where I want him at.
Interesting.
That's where I want Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
Juice speaking it into existence.
Yes, I'm trying.
That's it. Hire Eichenberg the coach. Apparently he's amazing. I didn't say he would be a head coach, Sam. I just said that he would be better than 3 of the 5 starting offensive linemen. That's pretty good.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark, for getting here no matter what, man.
Yeah, Mark, we appreciate it. We had both with me and with OJ, I know we had a healthy debate on Twitter, but it was respectful. Nobody took any shots at each other, and I'm all for that. So Andrew asks a good question here, Juice. What happens if we jump over to the other podcast and Perk's got high def, crystal clear picture?
Oh yeah, let's do it. I'm saying we do it, man. We're going to be like the fish tank people last week. We're going to bombard that podcast with all kinds of shit.
We should do that. We should jump in. Hey, I appreciate everybody being a part of this. Again, it was a healthy debate. It's okay if you don't agree with me or any one of us here, as long as everybody's respectful, or at least borderline respectful. So that's good stuff.
I just got to say one thing. I did get a double tap, by the way, on I tried to tell you when we saw Darren Waller go on IR today. You see?
You did. And I'm not trying to jump on the pile here, but I think this was the real concern. We were all shocked that he was still so damn effective. And I mean, his athleticism and that was so impressive. And I can't imagine anybody expected that. But I think the biggest concern, it was 2 things to me. It was one, is his heart still in it? Is it really in it? Hard game to play after you've been away from it. But it's also physically, could you hold up? And so it looks like the physical part. It seems like he wanted to play. I mean, even when they were losing, he was out there giving great effort. But physically, he clearly injured his hip during camp, and now he's got the pec injury. So, and it's all that soft tissue stuff, it seems like. So, it's just it's tough to get knocked around out there. Shelby, I'm glad you had fun. Appreciate everybody. Mark, Andrew, Sam, always. I don't know if Lewis is still there. Appreciate the whole crew being a part of this. We'll be back here next Wednesday. Juice, get us out of here. Oh, Bill in the house, BLT.
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, you got everybody, I think. A lot of people listening. Thanks for diving in, everybody.